A lot of the time when you watch coaching content, or when I watch coaching content, I find that either there are specific points that they hyper focus on, or the situations that they review and they go over aren't the same situations that I face or you face. These coaches are usually like awesome to watch, and you can learn a lot from watching their content that they put out online. But I always feel like there's a limit as to what I can actually process from each video. So I ask myself, what can I do? How can I improve? The answer of just play the game, do some aim labs, do some mod reviews, that's great. And I say that stuff in my videos. But there's some additional context needed to really drive in what that means. So you're in bronze and you want to get to silver. How'd you do that? Before we go any further, there are some prerequisites that we're just going to cover now that gets us set up going forward. You'll need some screen recording software. The majority of graphics cards out there come with software that can do this. If you're unsure how to set that up, you can look into some software like OBS or something akin to that, set up a display capture and record through that. I'm not going to delve into OBS and tutorials in this video. What I'm going to do is I'm going to link some videos down below that will cover that off instead. Once that's all set up, we now want to actually load up the game that we want to get better at. So if it was me, I'm kind of bouncing between 3 different games right now, which is CS, Valorant and Apex. So I would load one of them up and I would dive into a game after I've warmed up and begin recording. And of course, make sure you give it your best effort, give it an earnest effort. Through that session, take heed of what you're doing in your individual performance, as it's no good trying to improve from your bad performances. Everyone has bad games. Even the pros at the top of their mark will still have bad games. Instead, focus on your good games. And on a side note, you can have a really good game and still lose that game. That's still a perfectly acceptable VOD to then review afterwards. I would fully recommend after the session that you close the game down, identify the best game that you had there, cut that out and keep that for safekeeping. Because now what we're going to do is look at that footage and review that based on certain aspects and identify the weakest area. Regardless of skill level or what game you played, there are certain aspects that every game shares that can always be improved on, such as movement, aim, your positioning, and enemy knowledge. There is certainly more to it than that, but for the necessity to improve, those are the key areas that are going to see the biggest difference. So the goal here now is you review the footage and you're asking yourself some questions, whether they are applicable to you in that situation. Such as, am I in the best position? And onwards from that, am I in a position where I can be shot by enemies easily? i.e., have I overextended or am I out in the open? Can I support or be supported by my teammates? Am I missing lots of shots that I shouldn't? Did I anticipate my enemies' locations and ideas correctly? Should I have taken the fight that I took? And quite critically, did I communicate all of this to my teammates? Or did I expect them to inherently know what I wanted to do? Those are but a few questions that you'll need to ask yourself as you go through. But a real critical key point here is you need to be honest with yourself, almost as if you were watching someone else rather than yourself. So you answer those questions and, well, perhaps it's not looking good. Okay, what do you do? Well, to start with, having an idea of what you did wrong allows you to then come up with an idea of how to improve that going forward. The answer may not be obvious immediately, but that's where it then allows you food for thought onto how to get to that. I'm not going to necessarily cover mechanics and aspects like that in this video, because each game has different mechanics and there are a gajillion videos on YouTube that will cover those aspects off. So depending on what game you play, whether it is Valorant, CS, Apex, Fortnite, Siege, any one of those will have videos online that you can go to that will give you kind of principles and tutorials and other such to improve those. Aim, I find, is less easy of a topic to understand, especially for people starting out, because it can be quite daunting to load up aim labs, or if you've purchased Kovacs, to load that up, and the UIs, I will freely admit, are not particularly user friendly, and there is lots of seemingly conflicting information online. However, I'm going to link some videos down below that just gives a rough idea as to how to get started and then can help you going from there. Positioning is an even less clear topic to try and clarify. But the basis is, if an enemy is capable of shooting you and you are not capable of shooting back, or you are capable of taking more damage than you provide to them, you are not in an optimal position. For the aspect of enemy knowledge, this is by far the most difficult topic to try and review and learn. And this is the aspect where 99.9% of players will just simply say, play the game. And there is an aspect where I do agree with that. Playing the game more and more will get you an understanding of what enemies like to do. For example, peeking window mirage on CS, a neon sprinting full in your face with a bucky, or whether one of your team gets knocked in Apex and then suddenly you hear a Pathfinder sip. One thing you can do when reviewing your footage is looking at what the enemies are doing and then picturing yourself as them, so you understand what they're trying to do and then what you would do in that situation. And it's almost a case of, if they lost that fight, what would you do in their situation to win that fight? So, you've gone through all the footage, you've asked all those questions, you've done some aim training, you've done some mechanical practice, you've done the VOD review. Okay, let's go. You jump into a game, immediately lose, and you're demoted back to bronze. I guess you do just suck, my bad. Of course I'm joking, but this serves as a reminder that you cannot expect to become suddenly Radiant, or Apex Predator, or Unreal, or whatever the next rank is for the next game that comes out. You can't expect to get that immediately. These things take time. And what you have to do is spend less time focusing on the results and more time focusing on the training. Focus on your communication to the teammates. Focus on the mechanics that you've practiced and your aim. Focus on your positioning. If you do not make that your focus, you will not take in what you've reviewed. And then afterwards, then what you'll see is you'll finally start climbing the ranks. And you'll finally see yourself out of silver, out of rookie, out of gold, and onwards and upwards. As you advance, you'll need to do this time and time again, because the bits that you were failing at now or were weaker in before are now your positive points. So then you need to go back, reset, and understand what you're now weaker in to improve on that. But that's for future you. Present you has a job to do. Off you go. But before you go, I would really appreciate if you could like this video, please, and subscribe for more content like this. I hope the information today can help you going forward. I need to take it in for myself because I want to improve and get better. And I imagine if you're watching this, so do you. So I hope that information has been really helpful today. Thank you so much for watching. Much love. Goodbye.